Let's bring in Newt Gingrich. He's the former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor, and the author of one of the best-selling books, the best-selling book, Trump's America. Congratulations on all your success, and thank you for joining us. So this weekend...
Glad to be with you.
Well, thank you. We're glad you're here. This weekend can be a big weekend. We could see the vote tomorrow. We all have lots of questions for you. But first, Kavanaugh, he wrote this op-ed in the Wall Street Journal. Why do you think he did that? Did someone tell him to do that, or he just wanted to clear his name?
Well, I'm sure that there was a conversation about whether or not to do it. I don't think he just did it on his own. And my guess is that they've been getting pushback from some of the senators about the tone of some of what he said, and he was trying to find a way to say, look, that was a unique moment in my life. My family and I had been smeared and attacked, and you're right, I was emotional because, frankly, I deeply, bitterly resented my daughters and my wife being subject to this. But on balance, my entire career as a judge has shown that I'm very, very neutral, very focused on the law, and very reliable. I mean, I think that's what he was trying to get across. And I think it's because, when the Democrats failed on attacking him over sex, they switched to attacking him over drinking. When that started to fail, they switched to attacking him over his temperament. And so in a sense, he's playing whack-a-mole, and he's answering the latest Democratic effort to undermine his nomination.
Mr. Speaker, it's pretty clear. We know who it comes down to. We'll see a full screen. It's Joe Manchin, Lisa Murkowski, Jeff Flake, and Susan Collins. Do you think, how significant is it that both Collins and Flake came out to say that they were pretty happy with an investigation in their own way? And how significant is it that Murkowski didn't and met with women's groups throughout the day?
Well, look, I used to be Speaker of the House, not leader of the Senate. So I'm always a little careful about my good friends across the way in the Senate. But I think it's very important to remember that every senator has the right to change their mind at any time and exercises it on occasion. So I'll tell you, for me personally, I'm going to feel better after the vote. I'm not going to presume I know going in. I'm not going to try to read tea leaves. I mean, I do think, obviously, it was better that Senator Flake and Senator Collins said there's no corroboration in the new FBI report. It would have been much worse if they'd walked out and said, boy, that sure corroborates her story. But no corroboration isn't a yes vote. I mean, my experience, I used to be the whip in the House. If they don't say yes, they didn't say yes. So you have 4 legitimate votes out there that are trying to decide what they're going to do. And I think Senator Murkowski is torn. I think she genuinely wants to be responsive to those women who feel offended, but she also genuinely wants to be responsive to the facts and to justice for a nominee to one of the most important decisions she'll make in her career. And I think that's why you see her going through these meetings. I think Senator Collins had a very clear sense. This is my reading of where Susan was. She had a very clear sense of what she wanted looked at, and a sense that they've done it. Senator Flake, frankly, I think, and I don't think it was necessarily bad, to buy a week, to have a little decompression, and even though you have Schumer and others promptly saying, oh, it wasn't enough, for most Americans, one additional FBI report begins to be pretty definitive. So I think that the original charges have now been pretty clearly debunked. And if I were betting, I think it'll all work out. But, boy, I don't know how Senator McConnell feels, but I'd sure feel a lot better after the vote. I don't want to jump in this morning and have a sense of victory yet.
Spoken by someone who's had to count many votes in his life. I know you weren't on the Senate side, but that's a great breakdown of the vote, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
All right, 45 pages of interviews, 1,600 extra pages from FBI tips, all included on that report.
Look at the screen, Brian.
Yeah.